You're very welcome back. Now wait till you see what we're tucking into today. We're making sourdough baked brie with thyme and garlic.
Yes, nice low-fat option Saturday morning. Patrick Ryan from the Firehouse Bakery in Dalgany joins us. Good morning, Patrick.
Hi,
Morning.
Patrick.
This sounds the business.
Yes, a little bit of comfort food. We've the last couple of days it's getting a bit colder, coming into autumn. Winter's coming.
And we might need comforting today after the rugby.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
We might do.
Extra
Hopefully
comfort.
we won't.
Comfort, celebration, whichever.
Exactly.
We'll take both. So basically what we're doing is we're actually taking a little wheel of brie and we're going to encase it in a sourdough and we're going to bake the entire thing. So basically what it does is the bread bakes around it, the cheese melts like a fondue. So then the idea is you're going to tear off a piece of bread, dip it into the cheese.
I would love, like the rest of the country, I'm sure, to be able to make my own sourdough. Now, what puts me off it is that it's a process. You have to grow a culture.
It's time.
Yeah, I mean, I have time.
And not this time.
Yeah. What's involved?
It is. So sourdough, like, a lot of people make it sound much fancier, much more complicated than it actually is. It's based on a starter culture, or a sourdough culture, which is this little guy here.
So this is a starter culture?
Yeah. So if you smell it, you'll see why it's called sourdough.
And what's in that, Patrick?
So technically that's just flour and water. It's a fermentation of flour and water. It takes about a week to initially get it going. And the idea is what it does, it picks up the wild yeast that exists within the flour and exists within the grain. So it starts to ferment. It's going to rise and collapse. So as I say, people make sourdough sound much, much fancier than it actually is. It's just a way of making bread rise. That's it.
Okay.
It's a natural process of making bread rise. So basically, this is your yeast.
Okay.
This is what's going to make your dough rise.
But you can have a culture like this going for years.
Yeah, so I've had that one for about 12 years.
It's the same.
So the idea is, you
just keep topping it up.
So for example, for today, I've taken 500 grams of flour and I'm adding 150 grams of my starter culture.
Wow.
This is my yeast. So this is what's going to help my dough rise.
That's your raising agent.
So the idea is I always keep a little bit back. So what I'll do later, for example, I've got 100 grams left. I would add 100 flour, 100 water, mix it together. Tomorrow morning, it's ready to go again.
Very interesting. Yeah, there's a real science behind it, isn't
12
there?
years, that's gone.
Incredible.
So to our dough then, we've got 500 grams of flour, a teaspoon of salt, 150 grams of our sourdough starter, and we're adding in 50 grams of semolina.
Right, okay.
Sorry, what's that, Patrick, you just put in?
Semolina.
Semolina.
It's just going to help give us a nice crunchy
That's
crust.
not a traditional sourdough ingredient, right? Or
No,
is it?
this one, I suppose this dough, it actually works. This dough actually originally works great as a pizza base.
Ah, very good, yeah.
So kind of adapted both ways. So you could actually do this. You could do some pizzas around lunchtime, keep one or two little doughs back, and do baked brie with the exact same dough later on.
Very good.
And then to that, then we're simply adding 325 mils of water.
Oh, so a little drop of olive oil as well, then, as well.
Yeah, just adding a little bit of fat, a little bit of richness. But now the good thing about this recipe, I suppose the real secret to great bread is time.
Yeah.
The more time we can give it, the better. So this recipe does take a little bit of planning. So ideally what we're doing is simply bring our dough together and we're going to knead it for about 30 seconds and that's it. And then it's going in the fridge and it's going to sit there for 24 hours.
Wow, okay.
So
planning,
What's that instrument called that you're using?
That's just a little dough scraper.
Okay.
Bit like a kind of a spatula. It's kind of curved so it gets around the side of the bowl.
I see you have decorative ones of those dotted around the Firehouse Bakery.
Yes.
It's a really nice idea.
All the merch.
Yeah.
Notions.
Oh, pure notions, yeah.
So I'll get you just keep mixing that for me, please.
Sure, yeah.
So basically, all we want is a rough dough. So we're not going to like a typical dough recipe, bring it together and start kneading, because we don't need to. Basically, the dough is going to do all the work itself. So we pop it in the fridge, it sits for 24 hours, and basically we're looking at that. All we're looking to do is incorporate that bit of flour, and that's all we want.
Okay.
So again, great for a pizza base.
So what point then do you start kneading this?
Just enough to basically just to help bring that little bit of flour together. That's kind of all we want.
So in other words, I can stop.
Yeah. Your work is done.
Now, this has been proven for 24 hours, and you can kind of see as I stretch it out, all that lovely gluten development. And this is why sourdough is regarded as a much healthier, tastier bread, and particularly for those who are a little bit sensitive to wheat and gluten. Because it's during the fermentation that all the natural flavour develops. And that gluten naturally breaks down, so it's much more digestible for your body.
Okay, and it's kinder to your gut, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah, and you get much more nutrition from it. So simply, we knock our dough back, and we want to portion it to about 150 grams each. And this would be perfect for your pizza base and for our little baked brie.
Amazing.
So again, from the fridge, a little roll round, and we'd simply just be popping them onto a tray, pop them to one side. And because it is a sourdough, everything's moving, it's much more natural, everything's moving that little bit slower, needs a bit more time. So about 2 hours from the fridge, they'd be ready to go.
Okay.
So literally, as we shape it around, again, if it was a pizza base or whatever, we just stretch out and be good to go. So great one to do with kids, really get them involved. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to stuff it with a wheel of Brie. So we're going for like a little individual portion.
Okay.
So, of it being based in Wicklow, of course, we're using a Wicklow cheese.
Of course,
There's a little Wicklow bun from Wicklow Farmhouse. So this one's it's quite high, so we're just going to split it in two. So cut it along the circumference. And then we want to stuff it. So make a
You're
little
going to
hole.
get more flavour
This
in
is
there.
the fun part, really, Patrick, isn't it?
Yeah, get the garlic in there, a little bit of fresh thyme.
And you know, if you're having people over for a glass of wine for a match or something like that, and you're not necessarily doing dinner, this is a lovely way to just throw a snack out on the table and let people
And this
help
will work
themselves.
perfectly well, like with a lovely yeasted dough as well. We're just happen to be using sourdough. It's got a bit more flavour in it.
Okay.
And then literally, we're going to keep, because the dough's nice and gentle, and we don't knock too much air, straight into the centre. And the dough kind of comes up around it.
Excellent.
We're going to top it a little bit of thyme.
So once you have your dough made, it's so simple, isn't it?
Yeah, and like, depending on what the size of the wheel of cheese that you have, like if you're going for a slightly bigger one that you're going to share with more people, just increase the quantity of dough.
Sure.
Okay.
So we've gone for 150 grams, which is lovely kind of for two people kind of share, just yourself. Little drizzle of olive oil.
Your mind must be a wonderful place to come up with concoctions like this. How do you
Dreaming
want
up
an
recipes.
idea of sticking a wheel of Brie into a sourdough loaf?
Bread and cheese.
Yeah. Oh, listen, it's yeah.
Still a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're going to bake it for about 15 minutes.
So what have you preheated the oven to?
About
Is it-
220.
Okay.
Because we need a good temperature. And again, just if you are
And just
doing
go
your,
15 minutes.
yeah, and if you are doing your cheese, like you want to actually keep the entire wheel, because we need the rind to trap the cheese in. So you
Yeah,
don't want
so
to
it
just
can
cut
go
off a
everywhere.
piece of Brie and stick it in, because otherwise the cheese will just ooze straight out.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
So the
So
rind,
it's going to keep us.
the rind will
held.
trap
Right,
it all
great.
in.
Beautiful. And the finished product. Oh, I've only been waiting for this for what, 12 hours a week, 18 hours since I read it out yesterday.
Yeah,
Brie
exactly.
sourdough.
Since it went into your brain in the first place.
And it's only 15 minutes, Patrick.
Yeah, because it's only 150 grams of dough. So there's not
it's
much bread
small.
to
Yeah,
choose,
yeah.
and there's enough heat then to be able to melt our cheese.
We will put all of the details
then,
for the recipe up
as
on the
it comes
website.
out,
Hey, mother.
The bread puffs up around it, and you can kind of see our cheese is.
The smell of the garlic and the thyme
It's probably one of the
and
best
the Brie.
smells.
Oh, that's
It really
just
is,
amazing.
isn't it? And just lightly browned on the top, just toasted
Yeah.
almost.
Because straight in, and then you're kind of looking at.
Watch the oozability factor here now. I hope we will close it with this. Look.
And then our cheese,
Wow.
just kind of probably good.
That really
melting
is
away.
comfort food at its best, Patrick.
Oh, well, we're going to put that to the test right
We
now.
will indeed, yeah.
You
Gorgeous.
really get that smell of garlic.
Oh, the smell of the garlic with the Brie.
And would you
Ladies
serve it
first
with
right
anything
there.
else, Patrick?
Not really. Glass of red wine.
Glass of red wine, yeah.
Bottle.
Or
Perfect.
more bread. Smell of that garlic is beautiful. For full details of the recipe, they're up on our website. That's virginmediatelevision.ie/IrelandAM. Or you can try everything for yourself if you call into Patrick in the Firehouse Bakery in Dagenham. Thanks, Patrick. Great
That is
recipe.
just delicious.
And we're lucky we have a wood-fired oven to do ours in.
Of course you do. Yeah.
You're
And not
spoiled.
this.
Notions again, see?